It's basically how we've been operating for a while, but we've not had anything in place as a formal structure for staff, so we get off kilter sometimes internally.
Okay.
Who's appeal?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Or do you have anything else? Go.
On page 4, primary spokesperson, subparagraph C. Council members are discouraged from speaking to reporters on official matters without first clearing the mayor or the city administrator. You're not prevented from it, but you're discouraged not to go.
Yes,
Okay, so.
and that's again, building off the
Ask questions.
the council policy builds off of that.
Okay.
So we're all aware of what's going on. Mr. White, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, that was one I had there that Lamar asked, but I also think it should include planning and zoning and board of adjustments.
All boards, not just the city council?
Yes, because we're citizens first and foremost. I think it's important to, if you come with what you can, I believe you have better results with individuals. I mean, I've been here 3 years, I've never called the media, I've never gotten in touch with them, I've never sought them out. But when you start saying, well, you can't, then I want to go do it.
We're asking you not to, Mr. White.
No, it's just my nature.
If I may clarify, Councilman, on page 3 of 3, section 1, D, it includes elected officials, staff, and volunteers, including appointed commission and board members.
That's it, we got it covered.
Is there anything in particular, is the reason that this has come up now, or?
Well, this has been in the works for a long time, and it's become more pressing because of the advent of social media, the 24-hour news cycle. There's now a new local news network with Time Warner Cable, and it's something, given the economic development initiatives that the city has invested in, it's important that media relations be handled in as professional a manner and as consistently as possible. Because it all helps to to improve the perception of the city. That's the real value of effective media relations.
Of course, my next question would be if there would be a fire issue where he'd need to get information out, he could quickly act on it if he so chose, or if the chief has a, I'd say, God help us not, there's an individual that kills someone, they have that the chief can go ahead and act in those instances.
Yes, those are in the exceptions on page 4.
Usually, Councilman, how we've been operating on that, like if we have, we had a fire a while back, I believe, or no, it was a flooding event, and Chief called me, there was someone in the drain that had been swept down. The chiefs will usually contact me as soon as they can break free to do so, and then I get with Lorenzo and just kind of put him on standby and tell the chiefs if they need his assistance that they can contact him. And if I need to further coordinate that, I do. Excuse me, but that's usually how it has been functioning in the last couple of years since I've been here. Whenever we've had a major event like that, they always contact me, and I contact Lorenzo, and then usually I'll let the mayor and council know as soon as I have information to distribute, either via text or via email.
The only other thing is that we do not have Lorenzo's cell number. Nothing you need to give it right now, but.
Everyone should have that. Everyone basically does use it. It's been on the list provided to council members.
We'll get it to you. We'll get it to you.
Okay.
Can you resend that, Delia? Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
everybody's had a shot, so I can do one more time.
Sure.
All right. I like this because it makes a clear distinction of who speaks for the city. I don't want that responsibility myself. I'd rather have a professional that knows how to deal with the media do it. And I'm glad to see this. I think this is an excellent document. I'm glad to see it. It makes me feel more comfortable. I can always say, you need to talk to the mayor, city administrator, or our PIO. Right?
We're also, if I may, we're also gonna do a staff training because a lot of times the ladies down in the court office will receive the first form of contact because they're just calling, trying to reach somebody. And so we'll just make sure that everyone knows how this is all supposed to roll out. We've never really done a formal training. Yvonne's done a couple with like purchasing, citywide purchasing and things of that nature, and that's been pretty successful. Delia did one with open records. And so those citywide trainings have served well because it makes sure that everyone gets speaker the same information. So we'll be doing that as well so that everyone is comfortable with this policy.
Okay. Council, do we have any action?
So motion.
Sorry.
Motion approved.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We've had a lot of discussion, I'm assuming there's no more discussion on this. All in favor to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Abstain.
4-1. Thank you. Number 10, consideration and action to adopt an ordinance for the fiscal year 2013-2014 mid-year budget review adjustments. And Ms. Britton, before you get started, just before you get started, got something in the mail that I'd like to give to you. It's from the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. And Susan Combs is pleased to inform us that the city of Balcones Heights has earned the 2014 Platinum Leadership Circle Award. Your application scored 21 points of 22 possible on our ratings criteria to earn this award. Because of your hard work and working so well with the budget committee and all the staff, you helped us to get this award, and I really appreciate it, and thank you very much for Sorry.
Okay, look.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna,
This is our third year. And council, you all have a copy of that on the table I left for you, so please share that with me.
this is our first platinum, and this is the first year they've actually offered a platinum, so
The third year to get the award.
correct.
Okay.
We had gold the first 2 years.
Did you read what the fact said? Did you read this?
Would you read it out loud? I read the letter, I read the cover letter. Somebody did.
It says for
Finance eyes.
for continued progress toward achieving financial, I'm gonna find it again. Okay, this is the normal mid-year we do every year, just so we can see where we are at. I'm sorry, I'm still looking for it. What item was?
Do you want the hard copy?
Yes.
10. Item 10.
I am going to lead by example here. Okay, on the revenues in general fund, I'm just gonna kind of go hit the highlights. If you'll, at the bottom of each page in each fund, I have actually this year read out the descriptions of what we're changing. On the first page, you'll see that the franchise fees, these are the PEG fees. This is a fund of money that is restricted, and they haven't yet told us what we can do with it yet, but there was an increase on that. Business registration, Floyd has done very well at going out and getting every business, so we've had an increase there. State LAS fund, that is a state funds that are given to the police department for training. They took that away last year, and this year gave it back to us. So of course it was not budgeted for. The main item is the court fines, which we are reducing again for $55,000. And the Norris Conference Center, we're increasing by $9,000 because they had a good year last year. Any questions on the general fund revenues? Okay. I don't have anything major in the council fund. 10-410, you'll see an increase of $10,000. We had a lot more problems with our servers than first anticipated, so they're working on those things. Once that gets all done, those fees will start to come down. That's it right there. The next one isn't until you get to the police department, which is the 10-510 account. You're gonna see an increase in the radio communications license. That was the fee that we weren't really sure what it was during budget season, so we only budgeted $2,000. Well, it's $1,400 a month. So we've increased that, but there are two other fees, narrow banding, that we did not need, so we're reducing the budget by that amount, and the MDT service contract by $15,000. Still not sure if we're gonna have to pay that or not. We're still like in a trial. The next one is 10-515, the red light camera administration. We have increased the salaries. There have been a lot of time that the regular employees have been out, so we've had to fill in with Bruce and Bobby, so that of course is costing more, but we offset that with the group medical insurance. As you know, those two employees do not take medical from the city, but we have to budget it every year because you never know what might happen if we have to hire somebody else. So that is that fund. The next page is 10-520, which is dispatch communications. They've had a lot of turnover this year between full-time and part-time, so they've had a lot of increased training hours and just getting people here. They were short at one time, and there was a lot of overtime being used also. Group medical insurance is going down just because of the transfer of a new individual. Those are the main items on that. Everything else is, really minor. The fire department, they have, I spoke with Philip and he told me that their repair and maintenance of their turnout equipment was not up to par, so they've had to go with a different company and it's gonna cost more money. So what he's done is agreed that the part-time salary is not needed as much, and we've just offset with that, so there's really no change there. 610, we just had a minor transfer within the account on other professional services. Let's see. 10-810, if you'll remember last year, they went out and fixed the lights in the park, and that bill was supposed to come out last fiscal year. We didn't get it till November, so we didn't spend the money last year, so we need to pay for it this year. So we had to do a budget adjustment for that. And that is it for general fund. Right now, we look pretty good with revenues over expenses, and of course, as y'all know, the sales tax is still down. Hopefully will come up soon. Do you want me to highlight the other accounts real quick? Yes? Okay, I can do that. The one main increase is going to be on Beryl Street. I put in there that there was going to be a sewer reimbursement. Well, the sewer account is ours, so there is no reimbursement. So this is the additional cost for that. I still need to verify if there was other utilities in there, so I've built that in. Fund 12 and 13, there's no changes. The streets, there's no changes. Fund 15, the traffic fund. We've had an officer that's been out injured for a while, so that's why you're gonna see the salaries are so low in that department. They're only at 29%. What we have done is, you won't see it on here because it's done this current month, is we've actually transferred one of the traffic officers to the traffic fund account. Because currently, we've only got 3 funded, and the other one's out of general fund. So we've done some transferring of employees. That's it on that. On Fund 18, knock on wood, we haven't had any major issues on the facility, so there's no changes there. No changes in 20, no changes in 21, or 22, 23. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other changes. So very minor changes. Any questions?
Council, do we have any questions?
I have a comment. I have a handout that Yvonne provided for me in the budget committee. It's just for informational purposes, but it shows you what's happening with our court revenue over a period of time, just for you to understand what's happening. Don't know why, what's going on there. Court revenue is way down. No. You've already got a copy of that. We have a budget committee meeting, bring this amendment forward, this change forward. You guys could take a look at that. This kind of gives you an overview of what's happening. You're welcome.
Let's go ahead and do a motion second and move on to discussion. So I have a motion to adopt the mid-year budget review adjustments.
So
I hear a motion to approve.
let's go.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, motion is second. Open to discussion now?
Mayor?
Yes, Charles.
I'm lucky in that I get the expense report, and this year compared to last year, they're just like $4,000 difference in expenses, and actually the police and fire together were expense-wise $500,000 under budget from last year. So the point being is that the department heads are doing a really excellent job, I think, watching the spending. And I thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Look up.
Is something coming up last year or last month on a TV screen purchase?
Yes.
And it was supposed to come out of an emergency management fund?
Yes.
Where is that fund? I never see that.
That's in the fire department, 10,
that?
10/5/30.
I see it, 487.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I just never heard of it until we brought it up. Thank you.
Yes.
Say. Mr. Trevor?
No.
Okay. Also, I'd like to let the citizens know we don't have very many people left today, but if you would like to look at this, please contact Ms. Griffin and she can show you a copy of this. This is open to the public, so just come up and request a copy and she'll give you a copy, probably tomorrow. Yeah, okay, thank you. Council, we have a motion and a second. Do I have any action? I'm sorry. All in favor to approve? Please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. My sore throat is really getting me. Number 11, consideration and action to approve a policy designating end of the year fund balance transfers to dedicated capital accounts. Ms. Griffin?
Okay, I put a little bit of history just so I don't just tell you about what we're trying to do here. A couple of years ago, they came up with the GASB Statement 54, and this was so you could no longer just have fund balance. you have to state what you're gonna do with your fund balance. So it's either towards a project, or it, I gotta refresh my memory. There's like restricted, assigned, committed, and unassigned. And basically, the unassigned is, we just have that money in fund balance, and if council desires to do something, we can. So what we're trying to do with this ordinance that I've come up with is basically state at the end of the fiscal year, if there's any fund balance being the difference between the revenues and expenses, as long as we have 3 months, 3 or 3.5, I think it's 3, 3 months estimated expenses, we'll take that difference, which this year was $259,000 and some change, and transferred over to the capital fund. And in the capital fund, we're gonna state, and you have to do this by resolution, you would state how much is gonna go towards each project. So we've got a breakdown attached to the ordinance of what we're looking to do. Now, you're not assigning that money tonight. Tonight is just the ordinance. But we basically came up with streets, fire, police, and then just general fund balance.
And council, this is to help attempt to resolve the issue that came up during budget season last year, when we kept talking about how are we gonna pay for fire trucks, how are we gonna pay for police cars, we don't have any mechanism in place. This was how we are attempting to address those future needs for large capital items that you guys asked us to try and develop a plan for. This was our attempt at coming up with your plan.
And then when this gets approved, we'll have to come back next month with a recommendation, which of course I have already attached. If y'all are okay with that, we'll bring a resolution for approval next month.
Okay, thank you.
So this is just the plan, not the moving of the money.
This is the ordinance, just the ordinance. And remember, everything that is assigned on the fund balance, you can only redo it by approving another resolution. You can't just move that money.
Thank you. Council, do we have action on number 11? Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion, council?
I have a question.
Yes.
This morning when you and I met, we talked about the changes. That's the ordinance that we were talking about.
That's correct.
That's the ordinance. We'll
That's-
see that next month.
No, the ordinance is attached. That's what's for approval. It's the resolution assigning the money that will come back next month.
So, number 3 down there on the ordinance, if we do have the money in there and we need to adjust it, we just have to have another ordinance to move that money to a different
By resolution.
by resolution.
It's
Which
resolution.
is just like, that council meeting, right?
Correct. If we have money designated like towards the police department and we have some street or sewer line bust and that's like an emergency, council can say, okay, I want to take this money, and this money and designate it towards like a sewer project. It would take a resolution to move that.
Mr. Butler, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Call for the vote. All in favor to approve, please say aye.
Excuse me.
You have a question?
Yeah. I have another document here that's resolution 2011-09.
Those are the ones so I could give you the history of what we've done.
Oh, okay.
This is September of 2000.
Right.
Well,
This is just.
We adopted the resolution in 2009.
okay. I do have one more question.
Okay.
Let me take a look. This morning when we talk about the increase in fund balance between the prior year and the
In the
current-
audited year,
in
yes.
the audited. And we talked about that being in this resolution.
It's in there. The new one was on the table.
Oh, I'm missing.
It's not in the book, right. Oh no, that was changed.
And we also talked about the limiter being maintained 3 months in reserve.
Yes, that's in there.
Am I missing it?
3 and a half.
Oh, I'm looking for number 3. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I
No,
read
no,
that.
that's my mistake. Okay. Okay. Well, I think I was looking at the old one. That's what the problem was.
Very good.
I wasn't looking at the new one. Thank you.
We'll come back now. I'll be vote on favor to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Britton.
Thank you.
Next, we have number 12, consideration and action to revise the oath of office. Three, you have on the back of the agenda request form is a revised oath of office. And the only thing that we're revising is adding on that next to the last line, it says, and laws of the state, laws of the United States, of this state, and then the city of Balcones Heights, still not involved. So, discuss this with Mr. Garza. There's no need to have council action, but I thought it would be a good idea to bring this before the council so that we can see that we would like to revise our oath of office to state that we want to uphold the city's ordinances here in our city.
As you know, the oath that's under the state does not include the city of Balcones Heights. It just says the laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. A lot of my cities had also said we want our elected officials and appointed officials to also say that they're going to follow the laws of that particular governmental entity as well. So they've included, San Antonio is one that includes the city of San Antonio, and other cities have also included and of the city of blank. So when they are asked, is that possible? It is legal, because you're not diluting the oath, you're adding to the oath.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, do we have any action? Thank you, do I have a second? Thank you. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes, sir.
It seems we are a Class A city and we are already under the laws of Texas. I don't remember because my memory's not that good, but doesn't it also say whatever resolutions that we propose along with what laws of Texas are binding? To make myself clear, I know you got that look on your face. But assuming we're a Class A city, I believe it's, we're bound to abide by, pretty much all of our laws are bound by the state, the exception being the resolutions we put in. Or I believe that in that it says whatever resolutions we adopt. So the point I'm trying to make is that, is this a form of redundancy?
As you're correct, as a general law city, the city only has the authority given to it by state law. There are laws out there that says, cities, you may adopt these types of rules and regulations, but it does not identify the rules and regulations. Cities by ordinances then adopt those rules and regulations. So it's not being redundant, because while state law is very general, your ordinances are much more specific with regards to specific things. For example, the no parking rules you may adopt. The state law says the city may adopt such rules, but it doesn't, and so forth. This ordinance then places in your books these specific rules and regulations. So it adds to what's already available in state law.
Any other discussion? No? Call for the vote. All in favor to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Or one. We don't have executive session this evening. And yes, and it is 8:23 and we are adjourned.